Imagine waking up feeling perfectly healthy. By sunset, you have a fever. The next morning, painful black swellings appear beneath your arms. Your body weakens. Your family watches in horror as your skin darkens. You begin coughing blood, and within days, you're dead. Now imagine this happening to millions of people. This wasn't a nightmare. It wasn't fiction. It was one of the deadliest disasters in human history. It was called the Black Death. Between 1346 and 1353, a mysterious plague swept across Europe, Asia, and North Africa, killing an estimated 75 to 200 million people. In some cities, nearly half the population disappeared. Entire villages vanished from the map forever. Streets once filled with merchants became silent. Homes were abandoned. Churches could no longer bury the dead fast enough. People genuinely believed the end of the world had arrived. But the most terrifying part, no one knew what was happening. There were no hospitals capable of treating the disease, no antibiotics, no microscopes, no understanding of bacteria. Doctors tried everything they could imagine. Some burned fragrant herbs, believing pleasant smells could drive away poisoned air. Others wore strange masks with long, bird-like beaks stuffed with flowers and spices. Wealthy families locked themselves inside their homes, hoping the disease would simply pass them by. Nothing worked. The plague showed no mercy. It killed kings and peasants, rich and poor, young and old. No one was truly safe. The first signs often looked harmless: a slight fever, a headache, extreme exhaustion. But within hours, victims developed large swollen lumps beneath their arms, around their necks, or near their groin. These painful swellings, known today as buboes, gave the disease its medical name, Bubonic Plague. As the infection spread through the body, the pain became unbearable. Some victims experienced violent chills despite burning fevers. Others coughed blood as the infection reached their lungs. Dark patches appeared across the skin as blood vessels failed, giving many victims a blackened appearance that inspired the name, the Black Death. Most infected people died within 3 to 7 days. Families watched loved ones disappear almost overnight. Neighbors became afraid of each other. Parents abandoned sick children. Children were left completely alone after losing both parents. Fear spread faster than the disease itself. Some believed God was punishing humanity for its sins. Others blamed witches. Foreign travelers were accused of poisoning wells. Rumors spread through every village and kingdom, but no explanation could stop the growing panic. Yet hidden behind all the fear was an enemy nobody could see. Today we know the plague was caused by a tiny bacterium called Yersinia pestis. But in the 14th century, people had absolutely no way of discovering it. The real killers were tiny fleas feeding on infected black rats. When rats died, hungry fleas searched for new hosts. Sometimes those new hosts were humans. Once infected, entire households could collapse within days. But one question has puzzled historians for centuries. Where did this terrifying pandemic begin? Most evidence points toward the vast grasslands of Central Asia. From there, the disease quietly joined merchant caravans traveling along the greatest trade network the world had ever known, the Silk Road. For centuries, those routes carried silk, spices, gold, porcelain, precious stones, and incredible wealth between east and west. But hidden inside sacks of grain, beneath piles of silk, and among countless merchant wagons, death was traveling unnoticed. No soldier searched for it. No customs officer could stop it. No kingdom even knew it existed. By the time Europe realized something was terribly wrong, the Black Death had already arrived, and the worst was still to come. The plague entered Europe through one of its busiest trading gateways. In 1347, merchant ships arrived at the Sicilian port of Messina after crossing the Black Sea. At first, everything seemed normal, but when people boarded the ships, they found something terrifying. Many sailors were already dead. Others were too weak to stand. Some were covered with painful black swellings and burning with fever. The ships were ordered to leave immediately, but it was already too late. Rats carrying infected fleas had already reached the docks. Within days, the disease spread through the city. Within weeks, it had reached neighboring towns. Within months, it was racing across Europe faster than anyone could have imagined. Trade routes became highways of death. Every caravan, every merchant ship, and every crowded marketplace helped carry the plague farther. Cities that had once been centers of wealth and culture suddenly became places of fear. In Florence, Paris, London, and countless smaller towns, church bells rang constantly as funerals never seemed to end. Gravediggers couldn't keep up. Entire cemeteries filled beyond capacity. Mass graves were dug outside city walls because there was simply no room left. Some villages lost nearly every resident. Others disappeared forever. The living became afraid of the dead. Families stopped caring for sick relatives because they believed touching them meant certain death. Doctors continued treating patients despite having no cure. Many died alongside the people they were trying to save. Religious leaders organized prayers, believing divine intervention was humanity's only hope. Some groups marched through streets, whipping themselves in public, convinced suffering would earn God's forgiveness. Others searched desperately for someone to blame. Fear turned neighbors against one another. Rumors spread faster than facts. Communities accused innocent people of causing the plague, creating panic and violence across parts of Europe. While society struggled to survive, nature continued without pause. Fields were left unharvested. Animals wandered abandoned farms. Markets closed. Trade nearly stopped. Food became scarce in many regions. The economy began collapsing alongside the population. Yet something unexpected happened after the worst years had passed. With so many workers gone, labor suddenly became incredibly valuable. Survivors could demand higher wages. Peasants gained bargaining power they had never possessed before. Landowners struggled to find enough people to work their fields. Over time, this shift weakened the old feudal system that had dominated medieval Europe for centuries. In a strange and tragic way, one of history's greatest disasters also helped reshape European society. Today, scientists know the disease was caused by the bacterium Yersinia pestis, usually transmitted by fleas living on infected rodents. Modern medicine, sanitation, and public health systems make outbreaks far easier to control than they were in the 14th century. Although plague still exists in a few parts of the world, it can now be treated with antibiotics if diagnosed early. The Black Death reminds us how connected civilizations have always been. The same trade networks that carried silk, spices, knowledge, and prosperity also carried invisible dangers across continents. It changed governments. It transformed economies. It altered religion, medicine, and society. And it permanently changed the course of world history. Even after nearly 7 centuries, the Black Death remains one of humanity's greatest warnings. A reminder that the smallest organisms can reshape the mightiest civilizations. And that sometimes, history is changed not by kings or armies, but by something too small for the human eye to see.